following program was paid for by federal national funding. The views and opinions expressed are not necessarily those of the staff, management, and advertisers of WMTR. It is always advisable to consult a professional before making a major life or financial decision. Welcome to WMTR's Sound Advice. It's 65th hour, Mondays from 7:30 till 8:30, right here on WMTR. And here's your host, Theodore Tracey.
You are listening to the 65th hour, Mondays with Theodore Tracey, the voice for senior solutions. Welcome to my live show every Monday, 7:30 to 8:30 p.m., right here on WMTR 1250 AM. Today, my friends, once again, I want to take the opportunity to introduce myself to you and why I'm so passionate and on fire to share with you this critical and valuable information about the next stage of your vibrant years and how we together can maximize them by you having the right information and knowledge to make the most enlightened and educated decision concerning the next journey in your life. Over the next several weeks, we will be discussing a number of very valuable and beneficial topics to help you ease your stress relating to health and financial issues by you having the best sources and information available to you on each of these topics. We will also open up a Q&A where people can call in. We will then choose the best of these questions to help benefit and educate you on all of these concerns in each of these categories. We welcome you to email us at info@federalnationalfunding.com to tell your story and ask questions. Ladies and gentlemen, the lines are open. I welcome you to call in. That number to call in, 973-267-9687. Once again, that number 973-267-9687. My friends listening here tonight, my name is Theodore Tracey, and I am Senior Vice President and Managing Partner of Federal National Funding. I have been in the medical, health, and financial industry for over 20 years. I have an extensive range of experiences which my practice focuses on, such as helping families deal with financial burdens when one enters a nursing home or assisted living facility. I will also be covering subjects such as Medicare, financial issues and temporary care, advising clients on final stage planning, also crisis Medicaid long-term care services, long-term care insurance, veteran benefit entitlements, and then, my friends, we take it all the way to real estate finance, property casualty insurance, and life insurance. It doesn't stop there, my friends. My passion for what I do actually gets me up in the morning. I have also been conducting educational workshops concerning senior veteran benefits, Medicare temporary care, and Medicaid long-term care. One of my passions, my friends, is to educate our senior community and all about the government benefit issues when a family member has a need for long-term care. Now more than ever, this information needs to be shared with all of you. Due to the extensive amount of changes that are occurring right before our eyes concerning all these matters, and even more important, where all your children, friends, and family need to be more aware to prepare properly for the next stage for their loved one's life, even including their own. There is a lot involved to all of this in the early stages before it becomes staggering and very stressful. That is why I'm here to talk to all of you tonight, so we can follow up face to face and sit down individually so I can go over with you in detail everything you need to be more comfortable with moving forward. This is my goal for all of you and everyone you know in your life. Tonight's topic will be when family members become caregivers. In the following weeks, topics such as little-known benefits for senior veterans, final stage planning, home, car, mortgage, and life insurance, Social Security benefit options, senior placement, relocation, senior independence, nursing care at home, and so much more. My friends, I would now like to really dig into our topic for this evening, when family members become caregivers. I would like now to introduce to you my producer, Miss Dianne Wesley. The lines are open. We're waiting your call. And Dianne, how are you doing this evening?
I am beyond fantabulous. And I got to tell you, that word is catching fire. Because now I even have friends who have college kids, and they're using it. And their families are saying it. It just makes you smile. And, you know, that's what we should be doing every day. And that's what I love working with you about, is that you're doing things that are going to make differences in people's lives every day for the rest of their lives. From the caregivers to those who need the care. And you know, I've said this recently in one of our segments that, you know, I went through that with my mom and dad, and I know what it takes. And for you to be able to express it and really tell them all the details of how they can go through this and not be so stressed out, and also feel like there's no hope. You're giving them hope, and I am so glad we're doing this show for so many reasons. So let's get into it, because we've had a lot of emails come in. We've got people that have been calling and in every other respect. So this is going to be an exciting show.
Yes, absolutely, Dianne. And let's give them that number, so they have that number so they can call in. That number, once again, 973-267-9687. The lines are open. We welcome your calls. Do not be shy. We are speaking about when family members become caregivers. That is our topic from the evening. But if by chance you have some other questions that we have touched on in the past, please feel free to give us a call. All the lines are open. That number again, 973-267-9687. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the topic for this evening, when family members become caregivers. I would like to start off this evening by, first off, if we have some new listeners, which I'm sure we do, and I hope we do, I'd like to go over the definition of what long-term care is. And what long-term care is anyone having any disabling or chronic condition that requires assistance or constant supervision. This is a very serious circumstance in our senior's life. It is something that I find in my experience that one does not plan for. It is something that the children are not even looking at. We often wait until we are in crisis mode, such as if one falls or if they have a stroke. And unfortunately, it does take that type of occurrence to really open people's eyes, to awaken to some of these issues that need to be addressed, on top of the substantial cost. I'd like to go over the examples of some long-term care services. Number one, we have the home health aid. They currently charge right now a range from anywhere from $19 to $38 per hour. Normally they're assisting one at home in terms of their activities of daily living. If they're having difficulties with bathing, dressing, toileting, grooming, mobility issues, things of that nature, that is where your home health aid would come into play. The next example for long-term care services would be an assisted living facility. And once you get to this stage, of course, it becomes too much at home, evidently, and that is the next option would have been assisted living facility. Now, the price ranges anywhere from $3,900 anywhere to up to $5,000 per month. That is a very substantial cost. Okay, and I'm sure you would agree with that. Once again, that is a facility that if the person is having difficulties with certain things as grooming, they're having mobility issues, things of that nature, that's where the assisted living would come into play. And often if someone is actually entertaining for putting their loved one in an assisted living facility, one of the main things you want to do is really interview the staff. Try to find out the longevity of their employment there. Because when a facility has a substantial turnover, that's not positive. You want something where the employee has maintained a strong relationship there, has established some type of tenure at that facility, and it really shows there's some longevity there, and they have a caring heart, which really makes the difference when one is in need of that type of care. The third example for the long-term care services will be the nursing home. Okay, that cost, the national average in the state is roughly about $330 per day. And that is substantial. That actually equates to $10,000 a month. Okay, that is $120,000 per year. And I'm sure you would agree that that type of expense could be somewhat devastating to one's pocket or retirement account.
Would you say, Theo, that most people don't have that in their pocket?
Oh, I definitely would say so. I mean, the finest pensions don't generate that type of income, and Social Security does not generate that type of income. So being that there's a shortfall there, one would have to, the next best thing is to really go into their retirement account, go into their checking savings account, and if they don't have it, then it's actually going into their loved ones, their children. So, but yes, to answer your question, no, 9 times out of 10, I'm not coming across someone that is really generating that type of income to really accommodate that substantial expense.
So you think if they sit down with you and go over all this that you're discussing, that you can find ways that can protect them for the rest of their life?
Absolutely. That is our main objective. When I'm sitting down, we actually specialize in elder care services, primarily Medicaid planning. That is one avenue which we'll get into. But yes, I can sit down with the individual, assess their particular circumstance, and then make some suitable recommendations to protect them, protect their assets, and also taking it a step further, allowing them to make a prudent decision so they're comfortable and their children are comfortable.
I think that's the most important point, right, where you're saying that.
Without question.
And,
without question.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to know how you can get in touch with Theo, his office number is 201-342-3300. The email, which we've been getting many of, is info@federalnationalfunding.com. You're listening to WMTR 1250 AM. And you can call in right now, live, here, on our show, 973-267-9687.
Yes, definitely. Please call in. We welcome your calls. I'm waiting for you to answer and address all questions. I would like to give a fourth example of a long-term care service. Now, this particular example is somewhat overlooked. I did mention to you home health aid. I also mentioned the assisted living, and I also mentioned the nursing home. But one aspect of that does provide a substantial amount of care, which is often looked upon or overlooked, is the family member.
Oh, wow.
Okay. It's often downplayed, but the fact is 80% of all care is provided by family and friends.
Well, you know what, Theo? We have our caller on the line. Teresa from Florham Park is on line 1. Teresa, you are listening to the 65th Hour with Theodore Tracey. How are you tonight?
Good evening. I'm well, thank you.
Well, good to hear. Nice to meet you, Teresa. How can I help you this evening? And your question?
Nice to meet you as well,
yes.
Theo. I wanted to just quickly mention that I did hear your show that you did on veterans. I thought it was so informative. And namely, I thought of my father, who was a veteran, and thinking of all the people that I think would really benefit from the information that you're sharing. What I heard brought so much value.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
Really. So I appreciate your show.
Yes, thank you very much, and I appreciate your comment. I appreciate your comment very much. That's something that we take pride in terms of educating our veterans about their entitlements. And what you mentioned, your family member is a veteran?
Right. My father was a veteran.
Okay.
And so I think that veterans out there deserve and probably really need more information.
Yes.
I don't think people really know where to go.
Yes.
Because it can be very confusing.
Sure.
So to have a source that brings so much value, it's a trusted source, I think is really wonderful.
Thank you.
I really appreciated that show and what you're doing.
Yes, my pleasure, and thank you for your kind words, and it's definitely a great pleasure and my pleasure. And do you have a question for us this evening?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
I was wondering, what are some of the options for getting care at home? You know, for instance, whether it would be a home health aide or personal companion.
Okay. Yes, so in regards to that, you do have the option of the home health aide, where you would have to, the price range is anywhere from $19 to $38 per hour. You would have to get a prescription from your doctor, your physician, that would really document that level of care. Sometimes it is covered under your insurance, whether it be the Medicare Advantage plan, but it is something that needs to be prescribed by your doctor in terms of the amount of hours that would be necessary to assist your loved one. The other option, they do have a community program, which is not very common. It is called the JACC program, and it's JACC. And that acronym stands for Jersey Assistance to Community Caregiving. It is a state program that is based on income. If your income does not exceed $40,000 for the year, you would be eligible for this particular state program. But that program does allow, and they will send someone to your home to assist your loved one, not a substantial amount of hours. It's very limited, but it's not a bad thing, because in my experience, if a loved one or a family member needs a break, those little couple hours can be substantial. But that wouldn't cost you anything. You contact your county office, but it is called the JACC program, JACC. And as long as your income does not exceed that $40,000, if it does, don't be discouraged. Because they do have other programs that would accommodate you further. And but Teresa, before I let you go, I just want to share with you another home-based program that you might want to consider as well. That program is called the MLTSS program. That is also a state program. It is the home-based Medicaid program. That acronym stands for Managed Long-Term Support Services. It is a Medicaid program that allows one to receive care at home. You still have your normal guidelines in terms of assets can't exceed that $2,000 if you're single. The income cap on that particular one, just for your knowledge, for your particular situation, the income cap is $2,250. So if your income does not exceed that, I would recommend that particular state program is something you want to pursue.
Okay.
Now, Theo, is this something that if Teresa and her father came in to see you, would that help resolve some of these issues? Because you could talk to them in person and go over any options they might be able to have at this time and help them save money for the future in ways that they never even thought possible?
Oh, absolutely. I definitely would welcome her to come in and see me. We could sit down, go over in depth the various options that she might be able to utilize to assist her, of course, to reduce the costs. We're always looking at the most reasonable way to, provide these type of services at a more comfortable level, without exhausting all funds. So yes, definitely, I definitely welcome you to come meet with me. We can sit down, go over in depth, assess your particular situation, and I would recommend some suitable strategies to accommodate you.
Fantastic. Well, great. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for your call, Teresa, and you have a beautiful evening.
Thank you so much. You as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Teresa.
And for other callers, please, the lines are open. That number to call in, 973-267-9687. Once again, that call-in number, 973-267-9687. 687. Ladies and gentlemen, I was speaking to you in regards to of a service that is commonly overlooked, the family member. As I said before, 80% of all care is provided by family members and friends. Currently, 1 out of 5 people are balancing both work and caregiving, which does present some difficulties. When you're dealing with that, it does involve some stress on the caregiver and the family member. The reason could be, some of the difficulties could be financial reasons, why a family member would want to take upon that responsibility. Could be financial reasons, could be the fact that they feel more comfortable in terms of them giving their family member that care and watching over them, because of course that's important. And I'm sure everybody would agree with that. But nearly about half of all the caregivers right now above the age of 50 actually are more vulnerable to a decline in their own health. And the reason being is because caregiving involves a lot. It involves a lot of stress. It involves a lot of strength, depending on the level of care that's being provided. So that stress over time can affect the family member either physically, emotionally, of course it could be financially, but these are things that are often overlooked. And as I said before, it's common. People want to take both for financial reasons, but also taking it a step further, they want to make sure that their loved one is being looked after appropriately. And who's better to do that than a family member? So that is why, and then of course if it becomes too much of a stress or too much of a responsibility, that's when someone would want to pursue a home health aide, or if it gets to that magnitude, an assisted living facility, things of that nature. But it is very common that the family member does assist with their loved one's care.
Well, here's one big question, because when you get to that point, and this was one that came in from the emails, what happens and how do you know? What is that cutoff point when you say, I love my family, I love my mom or my dad or my uncle or niece or whoever, but I can't do this on my own anymore? What are some of the signs so they don't get past that point and really start making themselves sick while they're trying to take care of their loved ones?
Well, I mean, it really depends upon the particular circumstance. I mean, everyone knows what their threshold is and what they can handle. A lot of people are juggling caregiving and work, and it can be very stressful. So it really determines what your hours are, the length, the level of care that one requires, because sometimes that person is not equipped to really accommodate what their loved one needs. If they need substantial supervision, how are you going to be able to do that if you're working? In my experience, they show a high percentage of family members take a leave from work, or they're being late to work, things of that nature. So, I mean, it can take its toll, but of course, everybody is more focused on, not really focused on of course they're concerned about their work environment, but they're more concerned in terms of providing that appropriate care for their loved ones. The statistics have shown that 51% of family members have to take off time from work during the day for elder care, because of that, the magnitude of the level of service that their loved one needs.
So if they're doing that, then they're also jeopardizing their work and their health at the same time, because then if they start jeopardizing their work and they have to leave because it's just too much stress, then they're not having the income they need to take care of their loved ones as well, correct?
Well, they're leaving. The reason they're leaving work is because they're trying to provide that service, so looking after their loved one.
Right.
And of course, there's a trade-off there. You're telling your supervisor, I have to take off some time to work to take care of my loved one, things of that nature. So, you're caught between. But of course, you're going to move more forward to assisting your family member. I mean, that's where the priority should be. But of course, one has to earn a living as well. So there's a conflict there. So when it gets to that level, that is where someone would probably want to pursue, seeking out a home health aide. If there's so much conflict Whereas in terms of the services their loved one needs, that it becomes overwhelming, whether there's not enough time in the day or really has a conflict with their employment, that is where someone would probably want to look at a home health aide and look at other options.
That's, I think, with all our listeners here tonight, you are listening to Theodore Tracey, the voice for Senior Solutions. You can reach him at his office if you would like to directly have a moment to set up a time and talk to him about all these issues. And believe me, each week we are trying to cover as much ground as we can, and whatever we can't cover, please feel free to call him at the office, 201-342-3300, or email at info@federalnationalfunding.com. You are listening to WMTR 1250 AM, 973-267-9687. We welcome you to call in. We are listening for all the information that you have been supplying us, and your questions are really valuable, so please feel free to call.
Yes, well, ladies and gentlemen, we did discuss the importance of the family member and how they are really taking the responsibility of taking care of their loved one. As in my experience, it's somewhat overlooked. It's not often spoken about. People are normally talking about home health aide, assisted living facility, but what about the family member? Because that's where they're the first person that really would discover the issue with their loved one. Then they're actually speaking to their doctor, things of that nature. So it is often overlooked. But what I would like to do, and I'd like to take an opportunity, we had a caller that expressed, had a question in regards to the different resources that one might utilize at home. And then after, I will go into depth in terms of some of the government programs that are out there, because there are some government programs that are available to our seniors and their families to assist them with some of these costs, whether it be prescription costs, whether it be care at home, whether it be care in a facility. It is expensive. There is no question about that. In my experience, it is something that we are really not focused on. We, in our lifetime in terms of working, we're more so focused on accumulating a substantial retirement nest egg so we can enjoy our latter years, travel and things of that nature. But we are not giving the same energy that we put into terms of putting away for our retirement. We need to focus on the planning stage for if something of this occurrence happens. Ladies and gentlemen, we're actually going to go to a break right now. Thank you for listening.
Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night and just worry about the next phase of your life? Well, worry no more. At Federal National Funding, we are a group of top professional elder care advisors here to meet all of your financial and insurance needs, such as paying your bills, Medicare options turning 65, caretaking for seniors, little-known benefits for senior veterans, home, car, mortgage, and life insurance needs, Medicaid planning, final stage planning for you and your loved ones, and so much more. At FNF, we are not a government agency, but we do specialize in government programs. If you are interested to learn more about how we can help and educate you, please call now for your free face-to-face consultation at 201-342-3300. To tell your story, visit our online website at federalnationalfunding.com. At Federal National Funding, where your interest is our priority. That's 201-342-3300.
Get your car ready for some hot summer fun with the cool specials at Convent Shell in Morristown. Bring in your car for its scheduled maintenance and get 10% off. And for a limited time, Convent Shell is offering an oil change and 20-point safety check for just $34.99. All makes of batteries are checked free. How about a coolant check? That's also free. Wheel alignments are only $89.99. Convent Shell is a AAA repair shop and, of course, has the latest industry equipment for both foreign and domestic cars. Convent Shell is also a New Jersey inspection station and certified emission repair facility. And best of all, the gas pumps are open 24/7. Head into Convent Shell at 192 Madison Avenue in Morristown, where they have specialized in satisfying customers for over 21 years. Convent Shell. Get a fuel injection cleaning for gasoline and diesel engines for just $99 at Convent Shell. Regular price $100. $125. Or bring your AAA card to Convent Shell and save 10% off any service. Check out dining deals at WMTRAM.com to purchase half-price certificates to some of New Jersey's best restaurants. This week we feature Hibiscus, located right in Morristown inside the Best Western Hotel on South Street. Whether you're in the mood for traditional American fare or want the feeling of overlooking the beach as you enjoy authentic Caribbean cuisine, Hibiscus has you covered. Come in for lunch. Hibiscus has terrific salads, wraps, paninis, and burgers. And check this out. Wednesdays and Fridays, Hibiscus has a lunch buffet so you can sample their various specialties. And Hibiscus doesn't just serve Caribbean cuisine that's extra spicy. It's all about the flavors. But if you have someone who's coming to dine that's not into the Caribbean take on things, they'll still love the amazing American cuisine that Hibiscus serves. They have something for everyone. Come enjoy your lunch at Hibiscus in Morristown. Open 6 days a week, closed on Sundays. Try them for half price. Get $100 in certificates for just $50 with dining deals at WMTRAM.com.
Broadcasting live from the Hilltop Nissan Studios. Classic Oldies, WMTR Morristown, a Beasley Media Group station.
I wanted to say something too.
For those who have just tuned in, you are listening to the 65th Hour, Mondays with Theodore Tracey, the voice for senior solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to be with you. Today we do have a caller.
On line one. On line one.
Anthony.
Anthony from Florham Park. How are you tonight?
Yes, hi Theo and Diane. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
We are fantabulous.
Doing very well. You guys are terrific. You guys really get out some good information, and just want to, extend that to you. Theo, what would you do without Diane?
What would I do? I don't know what I would do. You know what I mean? I do not know what I would do.
Give the woman a raise.
Absolutely. Yes.
Theo, I have a quick question. My mother is 71. She's relatively in good health, thank God.
Uh-huh.
And she's on a fixed income. She gets 2 forms of Social Security income. And God forbid when that time comes, if she goes into a nursing home, what should I expect in terms of how this will work with Social Security, because she doesn't really get any type of alternative income other than that.
Okay, I noticed that you had mentioned 2 forms of Social Security. What did you mean by that? You mean by Social Security pension?
She gets Social Security, and then she gets what's called Social Security income, SSI, and then just Social Security.
Yeah, it would either be one or the other. But she's not receiving any pension. She's not receiving any pension.
No, unfortunately not.
Okay. Is she married? Is your mother married?
No, she is not. She's widowed.
Okay, she's widowed. Okay. And her, just to ask you a couple questions, does she own her own home?
No, she actually rents.
Okay. So she only has that Social Security income. So if, God forbid, if she would actually enter a nursing home facility, she would be responsible for a copay. So depending on if the cap is $22.50. So as long as her income does not exceed the $22.50, which it sounds like she's only getting Social Security, she should easily be approved for Medicaid. The fact is they would allow her, they would take the majority of her Social Security income, but they do allow her what they call a P&A, which is a personal needs allowance. And it's roughly about $50 a month. That is to take care of incidentals in terms of, I guess hairdressing, things of that nature. The facility will allow her a personal needs allowance of about $50. But if she does not have a spouse, she would forfeit her Social Security income to the facility, but she would be able to shelter a small amount. But, yes. And it really, and that's really in terms of me really addressing your question more in depth. We'd have to really talk to see if there's additional assets. I know you mentioned the income. Does she have any assets like checking account, 401k, IRA, anything of that nature? We would want to really look at that if there's something like that was in the place. But one thing that you should, was her husband a veteran?
No, unfortunately not. Her My father was actually a small business owner, so you know he didn't have any type of pension or unfortunately didn't do a good job in planning for these type of things down the road.
Okay, and no long-term care insurance in place, nothing like that.
No.
Okay. What I would suggest to you, Anthony, being one thing that you should actually pursue before it gets to that stage of a nursing home is look into the JACC program. The acronym is JACC. That's the Jersey Assistance for Community Caregiving. That state program would allow your mother to, maintain the residence where she is now before prematurely going into a nursing facility. So I'm sure that would make her happy as well, too.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Very good. That's really valuable information. I appreciate it.
Okay, and I thank you for your call.
Yeah. Before you go, Theo, will that help Anthony if he went and met with you in person? Because we're talking about generations. For him to set up, because now it makes you think about here's your mom, and then for yourself to understand all these different levels for care.
Yes, I would definitely recommend for him to come in. That is what we would do. I would sit down with you, Anthony, and assess your particular situation and see if I could make some further recommendations for you to accommodate your situation. But I do thank you for that call, and you have a nice evening. My pleasure. I see we have another caller on the line. Vic, let's see. Yes, Vic, how are you doing this evening?
Hello, Vic. Well, he's trying to get him back. If you want to get in touch with Theo, you can call his office at 201-342-3300.
Oh.
And you are listening to WMTR 1250 AM 973-267-9687. You can also email us at info@federalnationalfunding.com. I think we had a problem.
Yes, I think we lost a caller here. But ladies and gentlemen, I know we had a caller waiting, but I would like to further discuss some of the options that we have in regards to long-term care. I would like to just preface this, if, some of our new listeners we are actually talking about long-term care. The fact of the matter is we are all living longer, which is a good and a bad thing. The positive thing, we're living longer, we're having more healthier lives, longevity is there. The fact is 40 million Americans right now are over the age of 65. They are projecting by the year 2040, 80 million Americans will be over the age of 65. Excuse me, I think we have the caller on the line here. Vic, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, good evening. How are you doing this evening?
Hey, I'm doing great, Mr. Tracey. I really enjoy the show, by the way. I've been an avid listener since you came on the air.
Oh, beautiful. Good to hear. Thank you. Thank you for your kind words.
So I live in Teaneck. I have a child that's, my son's 15 years old. What provisions can be put in place for him if I need to go into a nursing home?
Okay. Are you married, Vic?
No, I'm not.
Okay. All right. So, being the fact that, you're not married and, if his mother is not really prevalent in his life, if, God forbid, you would need assistance by way of a nursing home, you would have to utilize some type of guardianship papers, being the fact that he's a minor. That would be number one. So, if you do need that level of assistance in a nursing facility, of course, we'd have to sit down with you, assess your assets and your particular situation. But of course, the priority would be the well-being of your son. So you would have to take the initiative of establishing some type of guardianship paperwork, whereas he would be well taken care of. The next step I would recommend after, determining the level of assets you have is to see if we could utilize some type of trust. And by doing that, we would use some discretionary language that would allow us to, dictate the flow of the income and things of that nature. But number one would be to establish some type of guardianship paperwork to, of course, take care of the well-being of your son. And then at that point, see what we can do to protect the income that you have or the assets that you have so that it would transfer over to your son, God forbid, if if anything happens to you.
Okay, fantastic. Are you around? Are you in the office this week?
Absolutely. I'm in the office from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Let me give you our number so you can have that number, 201-342-3300. That's our office number. I'll give it to you again. That's 201-342-3300. And Vic,
thanks so much.
No, my pleasure, sir. And you have a great evening.
You too as well.
Okay, thank you. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the 65th Hour with Theodore Tracey, the voice for senior solutions. I welcome you to call in. The lines are open, 973-267-9687. I do welcome your calls. Please give us a call and express your questions or concerns. If it's not concerning long-term care, if it happens to deal with anything concerning the financial issues that you might be having, we welcome your calls. I was talking to you about the fact that we on a whole, Americans, are living longer. We're living longer. It's a good and a bad thing. As I said, by the year 2040, 80 million Americans will be over the age of 65. And what does that mean? That means that 75%, they say statistic-wise, 75% will require some kind of care. Okay? 50% will require a minimum of 1 year. And they say statistics, 20% will require at least 5 years of care. Now, you may ask yourself, 5 years doesn't seem like a very long time, but let's break that down in terms of numbers. I did say to you the average cost right now for a nursing home in the state of New Jersey is roughly $330 per day. Okay? That equates to $10,000 per month. Okay? Over a 5-year period. You're looking in excess of over $600,000. So if you do not have long-term care insurance, if you were not prudent in your planning and established some level of long-term care insurance when you're either 40 or 50, then you would be responsible. If you're not generating that level of income, which in my experience is not common, because the best of pensions is not generating that income. The best of Social Security is not generating that income. We would be forced to move into our retirement accounts or family members and things of that nature. We have on the line Dianne. And Dianne, do you have a question for Theo? No, I think we lost Dianne. So I'm going to further this discussion in terms of just going over what the level and just the fact is that people are not really looking, this is not in their range, right? People are looking like long-term care insurance like they're looking at term insurance. A lot of people don't look at term insurance because it does not have cash value. Term insurance does not have cash value. So a lot of people say, okay, let me just treat this so, I really don't need it. Listen, it comes down to the fact that you need to have something. This is something that at some point in our lives, we are going to be confronted with this type of cost. Of course, it's more positive. We're living healthier. We're taking care of ourselves. But at some point, statistics, we are all getting older. That's something, unfortunately, we cannot avoid. What is it? What do they say? Death and taxes is something that we can't avoid. Well, this is something that really needs to be put in that category because on a whole, this is something we cannot. Excuse me. I think Dianne is on She's on line 1. Okay. Mm-hmm. Dianne, how are you doing this evening?
I am well, thank you.
Okay, good to hear. I'm glad you're calling. And what is your question for this evening, Dianne?
Yes, Mr. Tracey, I have been listening to your program now for a few weeks, and I am part of a women's club, and we're all approaching the age of upwards of 65.
Okay.
And so there's several of the services that you provide that we are interested in learning more. Would you be able to address us as a group? And how would I go about arranging that?
Yes, Diane, absolutely, without question. I do conduct educational workshops. I can give you our number at the office. That number is 201-342-3300. Once again, that number 201-342-3300. I definitely would be happy to address your organization. We will strictly discuss educational. It is an educational workshop, so there will be no selling or products being discussed. But we would be the primary focus would be going over some of your concerns that your organization might have, and how, if you in terms of addressing those concerns and recommending suitable strategies to accommodate.
We have a caller on line 2, Theo.
Okay.
Jara from Florham Park. How are you, Jara, tonight?
Good morning. I'm sorry, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you, yes. How are you doing this evening?
Hi, Theo.
Okay.
I've been listening, and I have a question that's been on my mind, so I'm really glad I've been listening to you. And I'd like to find out, is it beneficial for us to put my mom's home in a revocable trust?
Okay, very good question, Jara. It depends on your particular circumstances. Often, the revocable trust is utilized as a vehicle for a transference of assets. A lot of people, use that vehicle to transfer assets. But when it comes to planning for, say, Medicaid planning per se, if your home, for instance, your primary residence is not considered a countable asset initially when applying for Medicaid eligibility. Okay? So, but the negative aspect when the home is in the revocable trust is that now what was once a non-countable asset now becomes a countable asset because the home is in the revocable trust. That is the drawback with that. So, but depending on your particular circumstances, it could be positive and it could be negative. But just so for your knowledge, that once the home is put in a revocable trust, it does become countable under Medicaid guidelines. So as I said, in order for me to really go into depth and to give you an answer that would be most suitable to you and appropriate, I would really have to know more of the situation, more of your assets, because all that would be in line. So what I would recommend for you, Jara, is to, let me give you our office number. That number is 201-342-3300. I'll give you that number again. That number, 201-342-3300. But it's not something that I can give you a clear-cut answer right away, but I can tell you right now that once was not considered a countable asset as a result of putting the home in the revocable trust is counted. So it depends. It could be a bad thing. It could be a good thing. But that's something that needed. But normally the revocable trust is used as a vehicle of transferring the asset. Not so much, for probate purposes. Okay?
Okay, well, that's very helpful. I just want to confirm, when I call you, it sounds like I'm not paying for anything, that you're able to help answer my question.
Right. No, our initial consultation is at no charge. So I definitely welcome you to, come in, meet with me, sit down with me. If you're coming by yourself, it's fine. If you feel more comfortable bringing your loved one with you or family member with you, I highly recommend that. Sometimes, you want to consult with your family member in terms of some of the information I'll be sharing with you. So I definitely encourage that you do bring a family member or loved one with you. But to answer your question, the initial consultation is at no charge to you.
Thank you. This has been really helpful. And you know what? I'm going to go back and listen to some of your other YouTubes that I noticed were out there.
Okay.
I think sometimes you hear it once, but I'm going to go listen to the other ones also.
Beautiful.
Can you repeat that number again for me?
Sure. Absolutely. That number again is 201-342-3300. And we're there, 9 to 5. Okay. And I thank you for your call, Jara. Okay.
Thank you, Jara.
Okay.
We have a question, an email question. Is a patient that is on Medicaid, are they treated differently at a nursing home than a person paying privately, private pay?
Sure. Well, the fact of the matter is, under federal law, they cannot be treated differently. Okay?
Oh, okay.
But just so you know, for your knowledge, the person that when you, say for instance, the patient has a private room, okay, and they're a private pay patient, they have a private room. Once they become eligible for Medicaid, they would not be able to maintain that private room. They would be given what they call a semi-private room. But so that's really the only difference there. You'd go from a private room, if you had one, to a semi-private room with Medicaid. But as far as the extent of the treatment that you receive, no, under federal law, they cannot treat you any differently. And that is a very common misconception and a lot of bad connotation when it comes to Medicaid. People automatically think it is you're looked at in a certain way, or you're looked at, like that question, you're thinking that it's less in terms of the type of service and the level of service that you would receive poor treatment. That is so very far from the truth. Okay, but number one, under guidelines, under the law, they cannot treat you any differently. And then let me just put it out there for you, which is not very well known. The majority of long-term care services in this country, 75% of the care as far as nursing home care is paid through the federal Medicaid program.
That's a large percentage.
And of course, we have a very large population in this country.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, 75%, that must say something.
That sure does.
And what does that say? It says that the majority of people are looking at what avenues they can use to reduce their expenditures in terms of qualifying for these government programs. Taking the same initiative that you would do when filing your taxes, taking the same recommendations that you would get from your CPA and using the exemptions, the same exemptions that you would utilize when you're filing your taxes, the same exemptions that you should use when in terms of applying for Medicaid and helping you reduce some of this cost. It's $10,000 a month.
Now, when you were talking about the long-term care and the cost, can you just state an example of if they get the long-term care as opposed to have this ridiculously enormous debt and also amount they have to pay, even you cited as for 5 years, $600,000. But let's say in those 5 years they had that long-term care. What could they save? What would it cost for the long-term care? Just briefly, because I know you had some people that want to come in and talk to you in person about that, and I would suggest, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Theo, the 65th Hour, the voice for Senior Solutions, and I have to tell you, we have had some exceptional conversations here tonight. You can call in here at WMTR 1250 AM 973-267-9687. And just to also let you know,
just to answer the question, the email question, the purpose of the long-term care insurance, to answer your question in terms of the cost, I often advise people to pursue those when they're in their ages 40 to age 50. It could run any range from $2,000 a year, $3,000 a year. But what it does allow you to do, it allows one to stay in their primary residence much longer as opposed to prematurely going into a nursing facility. So that's what it does. But I'm going to take it a step further, what long-term care insurance does. It allows one to not only delay their admittance in a nursing care facility, but it does allow them, if necessary, the time to reposition their assets, if need be, to qualify for Medicaid program. That was very important. So not only does it allow one to maintain their residence before going into, so they don't have to go into a facility prematurely, but it allows them, if necessary, if there's some assets there, if some spend down needs to be done or some strategies need to be implemented, it allows us the time to do that. That is the benefit of having long-term care insurance as well.
And that's also to do with like trusts, if you want to set them up for your loved ones, if they want to do that?
Trust is just a vehicle that we utilize, a financial tool that we utilize depending on the particular circumstance to either protect one's assets or to redirect some income. So, and there are different types of trusts, which we're going to get in more in depth in the future shows. But that's something that we will cover more in depth, as well as we will touch again on some veteran entitlements, because that is something that needs to be reviewed.
And if you want to meet the man behind the voice, you can see him at the annual Senior Citizens Picnic this Wednesday, September 26th at 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Van Saun County Park in Paramus. You'll be able to get all kinds of information, music, entertainment, lunch, and have a chance to really get to know the man who has such passion for what he does for many, many years now. And then you can talk to him about some of your issues, set up a time if you'd like to meet with him in person, and you can reach him at 201-342-3300 or email him at info@federalnationalfunding.com. You have been listening to WMTR 1250 AM, 973-267-9687. And we thank everyone for calling in tonight. And everyone who wants to call in, please do leave your information, because we want to get these questions resolved for you before you even come into the office, just so you have a better understanding.
Okay, my friends, it has been a real pleasure speaking with all of you this evening. Those of you who have just tuned in, listening here tonight, you are listening to the 65th Hour, Mondays with Theodore Tracey, the voice for senior solutions. Over the next several weeks, we will be covering and discussing a number of very valuable and beneficial topics to help ease your stress and worry concerning and relating to health insurance needs and financial issues. We welcome you for these talks. And remember, my friends, if you are interested to learn more about how we can help and educate you on all of these issues, please call now for your free face-to-face consultation at 201-342-3300. I will be out there next week, Wednesday. We welcome you to Van Saun Park. A lot of state agencies will be out there. There'll be some very, very good information. Aside from the fact, of course, they're going to have food and good information. You know, we welcome that. It's the senior picnic. We're expecting roughly about 3,000 people, 3,000 seniors are looking to attend that event.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's a big event. And until then, at Federal National Funding, where your interest is our priority. Till next week, my friends, stay strong, healthy, happy, and well-informed. Have a good evening.
Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night and just worry about the next phase of your life? Well, worry no more. At Federal National Funding, they are a group of top professional elder care advisors here to meet all your financial and insurance needs, such as paying your bills, Medicare options turning 65, caretaking for seniors, little-known benefits for senior veterans, home car, mortgage, and life insurance needs, Medicaid planning, final stage planning for you and your loved ones, and so much more. At Federal National Funding, they are not a government agency, but they do specialize in government programs. If you are interested to learn more about how Federal National Funding can help and educate you, please call now for your free face-to-face consultation at 201-342-3300. That's 201-342-3300. At Federal National Funding, where your interest is our priority. That's 201-342-3300. 201-342-3300.
Turn down that radio!
If this sounds familiar, you know it's time to address your hearing loss. But custom hearing aids can cost as much as $5,000 each and are not covered by Medicare. The good news is MD Hearing Aid offers medical-grade, FDA-registered hearing aids for savings of up to 90% over traditional hearing aids. MD Hearing Aid was founded by a Chicago surgeon determined to develop a hearing aid that was technologically advanced, simple to use, and most of all, affordable. Call 1-800-758-2171. You'll speak with a trained MD hearing aid professional who will match you with the best hearing aid for your needs. Over 100,000 satisfied customers have already made the call. Call right now for our exclusive 45-day risk-free trial and get free shipping and a year's worth of free batteries, a $50 value. But you have to call right now. Call MD Hearing Aid at 1-800-758-2171. That's 1-800-758-2171.
WMTR is New Jersey's traffic authority. We highlight the roads you use with frequent, less stressed traffic reports. Weekday mornings and afternoons. Now you can also check for trouble spots anytime. Just head to our website, WMTRAM.com. Click on traffic, and you're on your way. Classic Oldies WMTR is your total source for the latest New Jersey traffic information whenever you need it. That's why WMTR is New Jersey's traffic authority.
The preceding program was paid for by federal national funding. The views and opinions expressed are not necessarily those of the staff, management, and advertisers of WMTR. It is always advisable to consult a professional before making a major life or financial decision.